Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my 2021 makeup empties. I have been doing this practice for a couple years now, and I have to say I really do think it's very insightful, it's very interesting, and I'm really happy to have done it yet again. I have all of my products that I used up for the entire year so that you can really get a good visual on everything and how well used it is. I have all of the items here in a paper bag with me from my last year of makeup empties. So collectively here, which you'll see the breakdown category by category very shortly, but right here, this little wee bag right here, I have 40 makeup items I used up. And looking back, last year I actually used up 40 products as well. So that's very interesting that I was able to keep on that same sort of trend. And then in the year previous, so in 2019, I worked my way through 52 products. So if you want to see a comparison of what I used up in years past versus this year, I highly recommend checking out my makeup empties for 2019 and 2020. But today I'm super excited to share with you what I was able to use up this past year, as well as my thoughts and reflections on each of the items and categories. So let's just hop on into that. So let's kick it off with some of the base products. The first items I want to talk about are the primers, and I was able to finish off 2 full-size primers, 4 primers from my collection collectively. This is something that you will see in years past of my empties and as well in today's empties, that whether something is a mini or even a sample pack, if I counted it as one item in my makeup inventory, then it counts as one item here. And so the first 2 are full sizes. This is the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer. This was a really nice blurring, like pore filling type of primer that didn't leave the skin feeling heavy or too matte either. It really made my skin look very nice because it did have those oils within it. It was very smoothing. And I had this in a project pan for a long time back in 2020, and I decided this year I needed to work it out of my collection, so it feels really good to have finally done so. And this packaging is so satisfying because it was an airless pump, so it cleaned everything out for me. And this just feels so good to see empty because I had it for several years. I did really like it. However, unfortunately, this formula is discontinued, so you cannot purchase it, and I would definitely repurchase it if it was possible. And then this next one is the Milani Prime Light Primer. So you can see I cut right into it and got every last bit of this out. This was in 2 different project pans this year, and I really enjoyed this. This was a glowy primer. I really enjoyed wearing this alone or mixed with foundations to give them more of that glowy kind of finish. And yeah, it was a good product. However, I have so many others that kind of offer this same sort of look, so I don't need anything like it again, and I'm happy I was able to use it off for that very reason. And then this next product is just a mini. This was the Ilia True Skin Radiant Priming Serum. I only got a handful of uses out of this. I used it at the very beginning of this year, so my impression on it has not really lasted that long. I'm not so sure how I feel about it now, but I remember not being super impressed, not really having any sort of major feelings of love or hate towards it. So yeah, I'm glad I worked it out of my collection. I had it for a couple years and had never reached for it. And then this is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. This is just a foil packet that came with the Sephora birthday gift back in 2020. I did finish off another one of these earlier this year. However, I didn't keep the packaging, and not a product I like. Gets a lot of hype. I did not really understand it. I didn't think that my products looked good on top of it. I didn't like the way that my skin felt wearing it, so I'm happy it's just gone, and now I know that for sure. I also finished off 2 of my Bare Minerals Complexion Rescues. These are the only foundation types of products that I finished off, and I definitely want to remedy that for 2022. So I finished off the shade Natural 05, which was my like summer more tan shade, and then Vanilla 02, which was maybe a touch too rosy. This is like my tried and true absolute favorite base product. I think you all know that. I think I talk about this endlessly, and it's pretty evidenced by the fact that I was able to finish off 2 of them. They were really close to expiry, so I'm happy they both worked their way out of my collection. And then I also finished off 2 concealers from my collection, which feels really good. Both of these I finished in my Partners in Cream project pan, and both of these were needing to be used up. They were old. So the first one is this Catrice Liquid Camouflage. This is the high coverage concealer in the shade Light Natural 005, as you can see right there. This concealer was okay. Didn't love it, didn't love the texture, and definitely didn't like the color. It was far too light for me, so I always had to mix it with something. And the texture was sometimes a bit too dry, but I was able to make it work. It was only 5 mils of product, and it wasn't something I absolutely hated, but it's definitely not something I'm going to be repurchasing anytime in the future. I finished that off very early this year and have not really thought about it ever since. And then this next one was an Urban Decay, also a discontinued product from them. This is the Naked Skin Weightless Coverage Concealer. I had this in the shade Light Warm. This shade was really great for me. And this took a long time to use up. I was shocked, but I'm really happy I worked my way through it because it is discontinued. It was a product that I thought I loved and ended up realizing I didn't love it quite as much as I had initially thought. However, you can see I was able to polish it off in its entirety, and that feels really good. All right, next we have some more setting types of products or finishing kinds of complexion products. I finished off 3 powders this year, which I'm very, very happy about. In retrospect, I definitely didn't think that I had finished this many, so it's nice to kind of collect everything and really get a feel for it, because I know I finished off this e.l.f. HD powder in the shade Soft Luminance. I know I finished this off early in the year, and I had kind of just forgotten about it, but as you can see, it's entirely used up. I hear really great things about this product, but for me, it just has a little bit too much glow, and it didn't have as much like setting type of properties as I prefer. I really like something that locks my concealer, especially under my eyes, in place, and I just didn't find this did that for me. So as much as I was able to finish it off and I liked it enough to finish it off, it's not something that I personally would repurchase. And then I finished off this. This is a Derma E Sun Protection Mineral Powder SPF 30. The packaging on this is completely like busted. It won't even close anymore. But I finished this off in my Graveyard Project pan, which was great because it was nearing its expiry. I don't recommend this product. I don't think I would pick up another product like this either. It seems really great, the idea of having something that's very convenient. You can just pop it on your skin throughout the day to kind of amp up your SPF coverage, but I just didn't care for it. I don't really think it's something that I need in my life. And this was like a brush also. And I just found that this started getting like really built up with product and didn't really apply the product very nicely by the end. And I just don't have any positive feelings towards this. And lastly, I just finished this up in the nick of time. This is the Lawless Seal the Deal Loose Setting Powder. I just finished this off last week actually, and I have been trying to use this for several months. This is just a mini of the shade Classic Translucent. But I've had this in my life for so long, it was just time to use it up. Considering it's so small, I thought it would take no time at all, but this really did set under my eyes very well. It really locked my concealer in place. However, one gripe I had with this product is that sometimes I would find that it could look very chunky. It wouldn't go on perfectly smooth, so I would see a lot more powder buildup in some places versus others, whether I applied it with a brush or a sponge. I still seem to get that, even if I really, really tried to dust off my brush or sponge to make sure there wasn't a ton of product. Something about this, it like clung to itself and it would kind of create that bunching almost. But overall, I did like it. But yeah, that was something that didn't make it super user-friendly. And then I finished off 4 setting, kind of finishing sprays. This one is the Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1 Replenishing Primer and Setting Spray. I don't believe I had a ton of product left in this when we started the new year, so it was pretty easy to work my way through it. I actually really enjoy the way that this feels on the skin. However, I don't think I'll repurchase it just because, you know, it's quite pricey and I've not been really loving purchasing Too Faced products lately. It just feels like I'd rather try out some other more indie brands or just other alternatives in general. But yeah, this was nice. I did enjoy the way it felt on the skin. This product here is the Pacifica Coconut Essence Hydro Mist. This is technically not a setting spray, but I used it like that because I really love the way that this just kind of felt on the skin and settled down any sort of powders, whether it be like cheek powders or setting powders. Really enjoyed it. This was just a mini that I blew through because I really, really enjoyed it. I really liked the way that this felt and smelt as well, but haven't really felt like I need to repurchase it by any means. And then this is the Catrice Prime and Fine Dewy Glow Fixing Spray. This definitely was a good setting spray. It actually did lock down my makeup very well while offering this dewy, kind of glowy finish to the skin that I found very flattering. Really enjoyed this product, actually. Flew through it though. However, I just don't feel like I need something like this in my life in the immediate future. I have 2 setting sprays currently in my collection, and I feel like that's plenty. And likely I won't go back to this one. I'm not really like a fan of Catrice. Like, I don't care to buy from Catrice. I did receive this in PR. And it was good enough to use, good enough to recommend as well. But I don't know, I just find myself drawn to other brands instead. And then lastly, I finished this off very recently. This is the Pixie Glow Mist. You can see there's like some of the oil is still in the packaging, but I can't spray it out. So this offers a beautiful dewy finish on the skin. I really like the way that this kind of felt on the skin. It felt very nourishing, and it didn't necessarily lock in my products. However, it just made everything meld together very well, made the skin look very healthy, and I really enjoyed it. This is something that I definitely would consider purchasing again in the future, but like I said, for now, I'm feeling okay with the state of my setting spray collection. But 4 setting sprays used up for my collection. Feels really good. Moving into some colored complexion products as well as brow products. I was able to finish off 1 powder highlighter. This is such a feat for me. I had this in several project pans in the past few years. This is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder. And yeah, this just feels like such a big accomplishment. It had been something that I had for many years. I really did enjoy it, but it took a lot of energy to work through it, and that's extremely insightful because I have so many other highlighters in my collection as well. So the fact that I was only able to work through 1 is good. I'm really happy to have done so, but I wish I had been able to use up more of my powder highlighters. And then I was able to finish off just 1 of my liquid highlighters. This is again something that is very insightful because there should have been more progress in this category in my collection. However, I never really prioritized using up my liquid highlighters, but this is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Spotlight. This is in the shade Opal. I really enjoyed this. I flew through this just because it is a mini, but I really did enjoy it. I also finished off a mini of a Becca bronzer, actually. This is the Sunlit bronzer in the shade Bronze Bondi. This is the only bronzer product that I was able to finish off in this year. Semi-disappointing that I wasn't able to finish off more of a full size, but this was, again, something that I had used in several project pans. It definitely was time to work its way out of my collection, and I'm happy that I was finally able to do so. So yes, I wish I had used up more bronzers, but this one, for me, felt like quite an accomplishment given the history I have had with it. And then I was able to finish off just 1 powder blush as well. As long as I'm able to finish off like 1 product in each of these colored complexion categories, I am very happy. And this is something that, again, had taken many years of work. This is the Milani Baked Blush, and I have mine in the shade Luminoso. This pan is entirely empty now. It feels so good. I had this in my life for several years. It was a beautiful product. I would actually consider repurchasing this, even though I had this for so long. But if I were to bring down my blush collection in the future and am in need of something that's like a glowy coral like this, I would definitely reconsider purchasing this because this was an absolute favorite of mine. And then I was able to finish off this here, which I had classified as a cream blush in my collection. I never enjoyed using this as a lipstick. This is the Colourpop Lippy Sticks in the shade She Bad. As you can see, like, you literally can't read anything on this packaging, so that's a sign of how old it was and how just necessary it was that it would leave my collection. But I used up every last possible bit of it. There's nothing in the package anymore whatsoever. And that felt really good. This color was really beautiful as a cream blush, but as I said, never got use out of it as a lipstick. So we're counting that as my one and only liquid / cream blush empty. I would love to see this category highly improved in the new year because I do have a lot of products that need to get used up for 2022. So I'm really happy with the colored complexion products, at least having one in each category, but I would like to see these numbers increase likely for the new year. And then I did finish off 3 brow products, all of which are brow gels, and they're quite comparable to one another. First one, whoops, is the e.l.f. Wow Brow. It's so grubby, and this is in the shade Neutral Brown. This wand was really nice. It was very fine, and I felt like I was able to get a really good application through my brows without getting too messy, too out of hand. It also offered a little bit of fiber, so it would actually volumize my brows very well, and I did really enjoy this one. It is one that I think I would reconsider purchasing or would consider repurchasing in the future, but as it stands, my brow collection is definitely pretty well-rounded still. And then this is the Essence Make Me Brow. This is in the shade Soft Brownie Brows, I believe, but you can see a lot of the writing has rubbed off. This I did have for many years. Very comparable wand, actually, maybe a little bit more tapered. Offered a lot of volume. It fluffed up my brows very well, made them look more defined without looking too abrasive, too heavy on the face. And yeah, I really did enjoy this product. This is one that I've purchased many times over in the past and have always really enjoyed. And then lastly, I finished off this Quo Beauty brow defining gel. This is in the shade Ash. I did like this a lot. I think this would be my tip-top favorite of all of them. This shade was maybe a little bit more deep. Oh, it's all busted. This was a product that I really liked. Look at this wand. It offered a lot of precision. The shade I felt like offered a lot more definition because it was a little bit deeper than the other ones. However, this is the most expensive out of the lot, and that's the reason why I feel like I'm a little bit less likely to repurchase it, simply just seeing in comparison to the e.l.f. and the Essence. This is significantly more expensive, and I just feel like I do get very comparable results with the other alternatives. So it's not a necessity, but I really loved using this when I had it in my collection. I would probably say this was my favorite of the lot, but it's not that much more superior than the other options, if that makes sense. So here we have my eye type of products. I was able to finish off 3 eyeshadows, which is great. 2 of which are liquid shadows, which just is a huge accomplishment in my opinion. This feels really nice to see this these used up and out of my collection. So the first one is this Stila. This is the Shimmer and Glow, not highlighter, Shimmer and Glow liquid shadow in the shade Vivid Jade. This was a beautiful emerald kind of gemstone kind of green shade. Adored it. I used so much of it this year at the very beginning of the year because I had been working through this in my Roulette Pan collab, I believe. And I loved this color. I loved the way that this looked and the way that this wore. Gorgeous, gorgeous eyeshadow, but I'm trying to work my way away from some of my liquid shadow formulations just because they do dry up quicker than other types of eyeshadows, and they do require a little bit more attention to ensure that you don't let them go bad. So I am moving away from these types of formulas, so I'm happy that I was actually able to finish off 2. And then this one is the Cover FX Shimmer Veil. This is in the shade Amethyst. Thoroughly enjoyed reaching for this shade as well. It offered this beautiful, like light iridescent kind of pinky purple tone. So stunning and so easy to work with. And then I did work my way through just one single eyeshadow. This is the Colourpop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Crimper. I finished this pretty early on in the year, and I'm really happy about seeing this here because I had kind of forgotten that I had done so. So this was a light gold shade. I don't believe this is available anymore. It was a beautiful shade, easy and versatile to wear. And yeah, it feels nice to have used up one of these because Super Shock shadows, I used to almost like collect them. I had so many, and I ended up letting a lot of them go bad because of that kind of bouncy, creamy type of texture. Unfortunately, I did let some go bad before being able to use them up, so it feels good to have actually used this one up, and I'd like to continue on this sort of trend of using up 1 to 2 in the coming years as well. I only finished off one eyeliner, and it's this right here. This is the Fenty Beauty Fly Liner in the shade Cause I'm Black. I believe that's the only shade of this eyeliner, but this was a good like felt tip type of eyeliner. This is my preference. I do tend to prefer to use a felt tip because I find that it gives me the exact right shape. I can just lay this down on my lash line and create a wing with just like the press of this as basically a stamp. But I've had this in my life for about 3 years. I got this shortly after it launched, and yeah, it was just time to say goodbye more than anything. I have tried to use this several times recently, and the pigmentation just isn't there, and the precision isn't there as well. So yeah, it's definitely time to part ways with it. And I was able to work my way through 8 mascaras. I feel like this seems very large. No denying that whatsoever. However, I don't feel like I had a good experience with several of these mascaras, unfortunately, and that's in part why they've ended up in my empties so quickly, I feel. But the first 2 here are the CoverGirl Clump Crusher. These are both the water-resistant version. I just tend to like to buy this one because it's really great on my lower lashes to ensure that I don't get any sort of smudging or any sort of transfer. It's a really great mascara to also use to kind of like comb through the lashes, even on the upper lashes, to kind of separate everything, because this brush is so nice. It really does get in between the lashes. It offers a lot of separation, a lot of length, and it just is a really great like kind of comb to work through the lashes. And this next product is one that I unfortunately did just let kind of dry out and go bad. I'm not able to get any sort of impact from this now. This is the Mineral Fusion Volumizing Mascara. I have this in the shade Jet, which is the black color. I didn't really love this from the start, and that's why I ended up kind of just letting it dry out. This is a pretty standard mascara wand, nothing of super interest to me, nothing that really excites me, and this didn't offer much volume or length, and so I just ended up kind of setting it aside and forgetting to reach for it, and now it's completely dried up and it's not really that usable. So unfortunately, that's why it's here. I didn't use it up in its entirety. I probably got maybe 10 or 12 uses out of it in total in this entire year. But it just turned and it's not salvageable anymore. So, and this next mascara is by Myricks. This is the lengthening mascara. So my personal preferences are I like to have length, but I also like to have a lot of volume. And this, although it says it's lengthening, it actually did offer a little bit of volume, nothing too impactful, definitely not like a spidery dramatic lash like I tend to prefer, but it did offer a little bit of definition. I'm desperately trying to open this and I actually can't. Like, it's completely dried up inside of there. So that is why this ended up making its way into my empties after only about 2 months. This was beautiful, really beautiful right from the hop. It was so nice. But after about 2 months of using it, it just seemed to like go kaput. Like it just was done. It was really beautiful. It offered a really gorgeous lash look, but I just didn't get the longevity out of it that I wanted. I remember having this in my empties very shortly after receiving it in PR because it just went done. Like it just stopped. I'm talking in circles now. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did, but unfortunately I don't recommend it because it only will last a couple of months. And then this is the Revolution Blowout High Volume Mascara. This one has sativa in it, so I was kind of hoping it would offer me like a similar kind of look as the Milk Makeup. However, this just didn't give me the same drama that the Milk Makeup Kush one does, or my kind of preferred look does. This is what the wand looks like, so it did offer a lot of separation. It really did hug the lashes to give me a lot of volume as well. But just not quite as much volume or drama as I prefer. So this isn't something I would repurchase or recommend. I do feel like there's just so many other better mascara options out there than this one. It took me about 4 or 5 months to get it used up in its entirety, and yeah, I liked it, but not enough to need to go out and repurchase it or even recommend it necessarily. And then this is the Charlotte Tilbury Legendary Lashes Volume 2 Mascara. I got this in a Charlotte Tilbury mystery box in 2020 in the summer, and I had opened it up shortly after then, and then I ended up finishing it off in the early parts of this year. This was a product that I really did like the look that it initially had, but as it got older, it got very clumpy, and you can see the product started spilling out of here. Like, it just became really hard to handle and to deal with. Like, you can see just how much buildup ended up happening. And the wand still has a lot of product, but I remember trying to reach for this since it's gotten kind of thick, and it just, it would make it look like I have like too thick lashes on my lids, and it was not a cute look. You can't even comb through the way that this applied on the lashes eventually. But initially, I thought it was okay. I really did like it. I don't feel like it was something that I absolutely loved to the point where I need to recommend it, considering this is quite an expensive mascara, but I was able to work my way through it until the point where it just ceased to want to work for me anymore. That's the very unfortunate thing, is it just got so thick and just not impressive. Actually, that's the general consensus I have for most of these. However, this mascara here, this is something that I was not expecting to love as much as I did. This is the Bite Upswing Mascara. I did get this just as a mini. This was a gift with purchase from Sephora. I am also working on another gift with purchase. It was like a code from Sephora of this, and I love it. This is my favorite mascara, I feel. I can't even believe it. It kind of just caught me by surprise that I ended up falling in love with this, but this has one of those hourglass kind of wand shapes that I didn't used to think did anything for me, but there's something about this particular formula with this particular brush that just gives me so much lift, so much volume, and it just makes my lashes look so good. So I used up every last possible drop of this product that I could. When I first started reaching for this, it definitely made my lashes look a little less dramatic than like once it's open for like 2 or 3 weeks, but I've had a great experience with this one and the other mini that I have, and I'm honestly considering purchasing a full size of this in the new year because it's that nice. It really is a beautiful formula that just makes my lashes look so good no matter what. And I've had many comments that my lashes look really good ever since I've been wearing this one on the regular, and I just feel like I never really get that. So it's really left a great impression on me. Then the final one is also a mini. This is the UOMA Beauty Drama Bomb Mascara. This does, from what I remember, has a very similar kind of wand, maybe not as curvy, but it is like an hourglass kind of shaped wand. I didn't have a good experience with this. I mentioned this several times on my channel that I like the way that this looked on my lashes. Definitely a lot of drama, length, and volume. It was really beautiful in terms of the look, but it just smudged and flaked so quickly on me. It just caused a lot of trouble. It was drama in many ways. Dramatic look, but also dramatic upkeep with this one. And yeah, I worked my way through this mini, but I would not repurchase this again. I do have hooded lids and oily eyelids as well, so this just was not made for me, that's for sure. If you never have issues with transfer or smudging, you may end up really liking this. I can't recommend it. And lastly, we have some lip products I was able to work my way through this past year. I finished off, I guess I would consider this 4 lip glosses. In the past, I would have considered each of these in this sample pack as one lip gloss, but let's just talk about it as one entire lip gloss. This is the Buxom Plump Up the Volume Full-On Plumping Lip Polish little set. So there were 3 sample sizes of Serena, Brandy, and Dolly, and I finished these off pretty easily this year. I put them in my Shop My Stash a couple times and just worked my way through them. I do like this formula. I like a plumping kind of lip gloss. I know it's not for everyone. and I did like the variety of colors in here. However, I'm not repurchasing a full size of the Buxom lip glosses in the immediate future. I do have so many lip glosses to work through, and I really felt like the e.l.f. one was kind of a comparable product. So yeah, I don't think I need to repurchase this, but however, this, as I said, this e.l.f. lip plumping gloss, this is in the shade Champagne Glam. I did feel like this was quite comparable, maybe a little bit more sticky as opposed to smooth like this one. It was a bit more smooth, but the plumping sensation was very similar. The fact that they both had like a glitter kind of finish was very nice. And I really enjoyed this one. I was able to work through this very quickly because it just was a product that I enjoyed reaching for. I felt like it had a lot of longevity because it was a tiny bit more sticky. I wouldn't say like uncomfortably sticky, but it had like this grip on the lips, if that makes any sense. And it was really, really nice. I felt like this paired with so many different lipsticks underneath or just on bare lips. Great product. And then I finished off two of my more nude kind of colored lip glosses. So this one was the Catrice. The writing is entirely off of it. I cannot remember the name. I finished this in a project pan this year. Flew through it because it was such an easy to wear product. It had a tiny little bit of shimmer running through it, and this was a great nude color for me personally. It was like a slightly browny pink kind of undertone. Really beautiful. Again, it was one of those more thick, sticky kind of formulas that offers a lot of longevity on the lips, but isn't uncomfortable. I did enjoy it, but I don't remember. I don't believe that this is available anymore. And like I said, Catrice is a brand that like I have worked through some products from them. I have enjoyed them, but I think I'd rather purchase from indie brands or just newer to me brands in the future if I'm looking to replace any of these things. Like I have not yet tried Kosas or Tower 28, and those are some brands that I'm very keen to try. And then I finished this off very recently. This is the Vesca lip oil in the shade Ginger Lily. This was a gorgeous light pink rosy kind of lip product. Super easy to wear, and I flew through it because this is a lip oil that just felt so comfortable and rich on the lips without feeling heavy or sticky, and it just paired with absolutely everything. It was so good, so good. I flew through it. I did not anticipate it. I had it in my Roulette Pan collab, and I knew I was going to enjoy reaching for it, but I did not realize I could just use it up so quickly because it's that good. So you can see I really scraped it out of there. I got out every last little bit that I possibly could and enjoyed every moment of doing so. And then the final item is one lipstick. I was able to finish off one lipstick for my collection. I'd like to see this number improved in the new year for sure, but this was a long time coming, so it feels good to have done so. This is the Colourpop Luxe lipstick in the shade Tiptoe. This was such a pretty color. This little color swatch on the bottom is actually very comparable to what it looked like. And as you can see, I dug out every last bit of it. So that's why I think I'm a little bit slower moving with my lipsticks, is because I like to use them up in their entirety. But what I did after I finished this off to be flush with the packaging is I decanted it into an old eyeshadow container and used it as a cream blush instead. And so I was able to just multi-purpose this, use this up to absolute completion, and that feels so good. But as I said, I'd love to see more lipstick empties in the future, but this did feel really great to have actually worked my way through in its entirety because I loved this color. I loved this formula a lot, like really beautiful color and formula. And yeah, it was in 2 project pans to finally get used up, and that feels really good. So that is all 40 of the empties. So here is a overview of all 40 products I was able to finish off this year. It feels really good to see this all collectively and to really get a grasp of what my consumption looked like this year, my actual usage of my products looks like this year, to see that there's a lot of products that are older, they were approaching or had surpassed their expiry date, they were able to get used up this past year. That feels really good, and I'm just generally very happy to see so many items actually being used to completion. So that is everything for today's video. That is everything for all of these products. So thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone!